Hey guys, Dark Humility here. You can always catch me at twitch.tv/Dark Humility for Diablo action 6-7 days a week. Today, we will be attempting a tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon with a Pure Summoner Necromancer. To do this, we'll be popping a 900 armor potion, and we'll be switching up the build a tiny bit, focusing on getting Blood Golem to absorb some of the damage that we take. There are other things we could do, but aren't really super necessary. Like, you could switch out one of the glyphs if you have all of them leveled. You could switch out a territorial. Let's see, where is it here? Yeah, so a level 15-21 territorial, and you get additional damage reduction against close, and you can do that as well. We have also done a Shadow Summoner. We successfully did that, tier 100, so let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can successfully do it for this as well. So we're going to pick out our tier 100, pick out something that seems maybe doable, kind of, sort of, mostly, maybe, not really. So Armor Breaker's Avenger, but extra physical damage. Could help her summons, so let's do it. Let's see what's up. Can minions do it alone? So just to let you guys know, there's no shadow damage on this build. Minions are doing practically all the damage, with men down or otherwise. So we are definitely going all in on the minions, as we typically do. We're going to be trusting them with our lives. Alright. They're definitely going to want to go in and make sure they're taking advantage of survivability as much as possible on the setup. If I succeed, I'll briefly go over the setup so you guys can see what we're using on this build to make it happen at the end. Remember, if you want to get that challenge, popping that 900 armor iron skin potion is currently the best way to do it in season 1. That might change in the future. Come on, baby. Ah. Okay. Make sure to use that bloodness as often as possible. The decrep from the heart is definitely keeping us alive here. I'm not ready yet. So in order to proc the Ring of Mendel Lucky Hit, kind of like a Corpse Tendrils Blight battle. By the way, we are using Blight because it's the Season 1 variant on the Maxwell guide. If you want to read the full guide and see all the different versions of this build for a Pure Summoner, you can at maxwell.gg/d4. You can see, of course, this build does appear to be capable of it, but it's slow. So pure minion build is not known for its speed. It's kind of just known for being a fun, awesome build. It's pretty cool to do this deathless as well. We're pretty tanky ourselves. Got almost 10,000 armor fully stacked up, as you can see here. Gonna have to revive those skellies. Sacrilegious Heart is doing it automatically for us. Decrepit Heart lowering those cooldowns with the Abhorrent Decrepify. Yeah, so as you can see, when the minions are distracted and they're like fighting multiple things, it can be hard to get down a single target. It's not nearly always the case when they're not distracted. But they're fighting multiple monsters here. There we go. Trying to concentrate them on one target is a little bit tough. You can see why some people in their criticisms of D4 oftentimes criticize the fact that in fact you cannot control the minions. You can control the golem. The blood golem is going to be instrumental to success here though. Get all the prisoners. This is arguably one of the easier tier 100s, period, but it is armor breakers, so we really gotta watch those ranged monsters. Otherwise they're gonna vastly destroy our survivability here. Really what I'm doing is I'm just going through as many monsters as possible with all of our abilities so that we can proc the Ring of Mendel from the minions. There's no way you're doing a tier 100 without Ring of Mendel, no way. But overall, Ring of Mendel is a great choice. Alright. Let's see here.
Hate me, but they don't understand. A way to protect my home.
Alright, that's a little bit better, I think. Maybe, sort of. Let's see, let's continue. Blood Mist isn't particularly good at proccing it. Bone Storm and Corpse Tendrils are definitely a bit more so, but you do always want to initiate with Blood Mist and Bone Storm. Corpse Tendrils, not as good. Honestly, Bone Storm is definitely your best tool on this particular build to do that. On more Mendel focused builds, there's definitely other skills that can proc it more reliably. Ring of Mendel can be really broken, but if you just want to go pure minions using Kalan's Edict, no Shadow Blight, no shadow damage, the minions do all the damage. Blood Mist and Bone Storm are for defensive purposes and proccing the Mendel and Imperial minions. Obviously, Raised Skeleton, revive your minions. Make sure to proc that often here. Now you might ask, can you do this without a 900 armor potion? You can do it with one you can buy from the store, but it's going to be tougher. In that case, you do maybe want to use the territorial glyph, but under normal conditions, it is not possible. So we cleared the first part of the dungeon without any deaths. Could be deathless, I don't know. Yeah, we'll go over everything briefly at the end though if you guys want to see what exact items were used to do this. Since the Maxwell guide, shows perfect versions of every item. Some people might just concede that you can only do these things with perfect versions. You cannot, that's why there's video proof, of course. You do not need perfect versions of items to run any build on Maxwell to the best of my knowledge. It'd be nice to have like 100% perfect stats and everything though, right? Exact stats you want on every piece of gear. Ooh. Okay, that was... yeah. Well, that's understandable that happened there, honestly. So we're gonna trust in our Decrepit Heart here to revive our army a bit. Notice that we're constantly trying to... got really good cooldown reduction and whatnot. To get that Bone Storm maximum uptime. Constantly going through the monsters. But as you can see, some of these monsters are really strong. They're having troubles with some of them. It's understandable. We weren't able to do it deathless, but it's okay. The Shadow version did have a deathless run, but deathless is pretty tough to do. Might have been a miracle run. Maybe not. Yeah, really good gear, really good execution, no mistakes. Okay.
I'm not ready.
So yeah, I mean, minions, you know, I wouldn't say this is like the best build in the world, but I really enjoy it. Like, it's really cool to see how all the Necro's abilities come together. And how buffing up the minions with like virtually every piece of gear and glyph, not all of them directly, but indirectly as well through stats, really makes the minions really strong. So it's really good stuff. Looks like we have maybe reached the objective. Yeah. The Blight, so we literally only have 1 point to Blight, and all Blight does, when I say no shadow damage, I mean it. It's like level 1, it does almost no damage. The only purpose of Blight, besides maybe getting some lucky hit procs in, when you already have Decrepify from a heart, if you don't, obviously put Decrep on your bar instead, and use that before you initiate. But the only purpose of it is to provide that 15% minion damage bonus on monsters that are affected by Blight. So it's actually quite interesting. We could also use Reap if we wanted to buff ourselves up here, and that would make ourselves a little tankier actually. So we're not going max tankiness up for a tier 100. Don't really have to. Kind of trying to make sure that the minions get as much damage as possible because monsters in tier 100s are very tanky. Director Golem to either smash or use the blood drain attack thing. I don't know how to describe it. The real challenge is going to be to kill the boss. Now, until you get to really high tiers, this build is good at single target. But I would argue at really high tiers, you could argue that single target damage really starts to fall off. Hero Minions is obviously not the best way to proc Mendeln or any of the other crits or anything else for killing Lilith, so even though it's really good at single targets, I would never recommend this build for Lilith. Very important to know. Alright. So this is gonna be a slog, but we'll do it. There's no... Be sure to power up your minions on average once every 5 seconds. Notice by having all these maxed out stats on our minions, it's really coming in clutch here for our tier 100. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay, here we go, here we go. Oh, baby. He's dying.
I'm not ready.
Not bad though, I mean, single targets in tier 100s have a ton of health, so as you can see, I mean, it's doing okay. One thing you can say about its single target capabilities is that it's very reliable. Very reliable indeed.
I'm not ready. I need more time.
minions. Gotta provide those corpses and that fuel, you know.
I need more to know.
Got maximum damage in from all your attacks. Just pump them now, pump them. Can your army do it? Can you command your army to victory? That is the question. You can.
I'm not ready.
Just very slowly. So I'm hoping actually in Season 2 that like minions in general get a buff and they've evaluated how to do it without making them broken. That'd be kind of cool. Because I feel like, you know, they're already good on the survivability. I think at this point it's more of a... They just don't do that much damage. But they can do anything. As you'll see in the skills demo in the same guide, they push pretty fast actually through a tier 72. In general.
I'm not ready.
It could be better, but yeah.
I need more to know.
Okay. Now, this is with Barber and with Ring of Mendel. Maybe not the strongest Ring of Mendel you could possibly find, but pretty good one, as you'll see after I show my gear.
I'm not ready.
It's not bad. I definitely think the this character's AoE minion clear is definitely a bit stronger in some regards than its like single target clear. And you'll see that when you attack a lot of weaker enemies. It sometimes struggles with really strong single targets, but at the same time, like as long as you can focus a single target. Uh-oh. Almost made a mistake there. Gotta make sure we keep that shielding storm up. Very key to our survivability here. I'm not even using darkness damage though on the Bone Storm. But you know what's cool about Bone Storm on a pure minion build? It's not really doing the damage, but it's buffing her DR, it's buffing her crit chance, and it even circles around the golem, so that helps just a lot in general.
I'm not ready.
Okay. Getting so close.
I'm not ready.
Alright. And then... all of a sudden, he's down! He's dead.
I'm not ready.
He's out of the park. There you go. Dopamine Tunnels, Dompane Tunnels, Tier 100 completion. With a no darkness pure minion build. Check out, of course, the entire Maxwell guide to know how to build this. However, I'll just briefly show you guys the gear. Make sure to pause on any particular gear piece to see what it is. I'm not going to really talk about them. I'm going to make a full guide where I will talk about why the build is the way it is. But I'll definitely go over the build here. Show you guys how this was done. In case you want to do something crazy like this yourself. Which, you know, I definitely think is definitely a little bit of torture, right? You know, it's like, definitely a little bit. It's understandable torture though, right? Understandable. Alright. So as you can see, a lot of nodes buffing up our minions, but also some defensive nodes for ourselves. And some other very cool things going on as well. Definitely got to have that Dead Razor. That defensive power is pretty huge. But yeah, there's just a lot in general that you pull from it, which is pretty cool. All of this is very good stuff. And of course, you're going to want to take it. Got that reap. Reap is not even used, it just gets us down the tree. However, you actually can take a point at a reap if you're using Blight now, and I look at that, but yeah, I mean, it gets you down the tree anyway. Yeah, I could actually spend one more point somewhere. Funny. Well, anyway, doesn't really matter too much. At any rate, 1 point Blight. It's literally just for the minion boost in Season 1. Otherwise, you use Decrepify because you really want that cooldown reduction from Abhorrent. Decrepify, it also just makes the monsters around you weaker. You got Hewed Flesh. Put a lot of points into Blood Mist, really good for reducing its cooldown. Notice how it was almost always up. And this is good because this is also going to, every tick, going to help lower your cooldown of Bone Storm. Spiked Armor, getting some of that Thorns along with Mendom. Maxing out her Skellies. Abhorrent Decrepify, which is right now being used by a heart. This helps her Skellies and her cells reach maximum damage and reduce damage to self. Necrotic Carapace. Very good stuff in general. Golem Mastery, Hellbent Commander, all of the minion buffs. Bone Storm. Maybe one day they'll make Army of the Dead, which, you know, supposedly should be the summon ultimate, the strongest thing on this build. But it's really tough to beat Bone Storm and the aspects it brings to the table. I did test Army of the Dead, if anybody asks. It's not that effective, and it's not always up either, and it's just... yeah, it's not as effective as you would think. Even if you put it on like a two-handed weapon, you like maximize the power of the Army of the Dead. I think it's unyielding commander aspect. Even if you do all of that and you put that on a two-handed weapon, it's still not very good. And this is with Kalan's Edict, so really making sure that a lot of the time the minions have really high attack speed. But yeah, anyway, it's really strong stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the overview of the gear here at the end and are confident you can do this yourselves. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure, of course, to catch the full build guide as well. And yeah, let's get it. Smash, smash, smash. Crash, crash, crash. Boom, 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 boom. Crush it.